month of June, 11th day, 2015. Mr. Trask, will you lead us in prayer?
Yes, I will. Father in heaven, we seek blessings on the task before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bessie?
Here.
Mr. Sableski?
Here.
Mrs. Casey?
Here.
Mr. Kramer?
Here.
Mrs. Archer? Here. Mr. DeMasis?
Here.
Thank you.
No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Dabbs. I'm sorry, I just here. Thank you.
I'll now read the board procedure. And please turn your cell phones off at this time. It is the intention of this board to promote, protect, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Tarpon Springs by providing an equitable, effective, and inexpensive method of enforcing various codes within the city of Tarpon Springs. Any aggrieved party may appeal a final administrative order of this board to the circuit court. Such an appeal shall be filed within 30 days of the execution of the order to be appealed. Florida Statute 286.0105 requires any party appealing a decision of this board to have a record of the proceedings to support such an appeal. For the procedure this board follows for each case on its agenda is as follows. First, the city presents its witnesses and exhibits, after which the violator is able to ask the city's witnesses any specific questions regarding their testimony. Secondly, the violator is allowed to make a presentation and present any evidence or documents. Then the city can question the violator's witnesses. After both rounds of testimony, both on the part of the city and on part of the violator, each party is asked to give a closing statement. First by the city, then by the violator. After those three steps are taken, this board then closes the public hearing portion of the case to discuss it and take appropriate action. Before we begin the public hearings, we'll have all potential witnesses stand up and be sworn in by the secretary of the board.
City witnesses.
Are you witnesses?
You're here for a case today?
Yes,
Yes, please go ahead and stand up.
Your case has been in compliance. Okay. So you don't need to. Okay. Do you swear the testimony about to give the whole truth and nothing but the truth? You do? Yes. Thank you.
Okay, got them all.
Our first case today? New business, case number 15-800000135, 1890 Bryland Street, Soulage Nertilla and George Alexander and Nertilla Soulage. And you sworn. If you would step to the table and then state your name and address into the microphone, please.
Sure. My name.
Yeah.
Go ahead and sit
Go
down.
sit down. Go ahead and sit down.
Oh, sure. Sorry, it's first time for us.
It's very.
I've never been in that situation before. So, my name is Nertilla Sulay. I live in 1890 Bryland Street. It's a Tarpon Spring. It's 34689. And I'm here to present a case regarding the tree removal violation.
And your name, please?
Hi, my name is George Alexander. I live in 1890 Brilliant Street, and we're here to represent about violation we have about a tree.
Thank you. First, the city will speak. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Dobbins. I'm the Operations and Maintenance Coordinator for the City of Tarpon Springs and also the City Arborist. May 2014, I denied a permit for tree removal at 1890 Bryland Street. And I took pictures at that time, and I have those here if you'd care to see them.
I think we would.
If you could bring the microphone closer.
I'm sorry.
Speak right into the microphone so everybody can hear you in the audience.
This was May 2014. I did a follow-up inspection in December of the same year and discovered that the tree had been removed without a permit. The property was posted on May of this year and a reinspection this month, and obviously the tree didn't magically reappear. It's in non-compliance. The property is in violation of city codes requiring a permit for tree removal, and at this point, because it was removed without a permit, it's 4 times the original cost for the tree removal.
Thank you.
The board have this cross-examination first, and then the board.
Do you have any questions of the gentleman from the city?
No, we just want to explain what.
Okay,
what
you'll have your chance to explain,
Yes,
but
sure.
now's not that moment.
Yes.
Does the board have any questions of the city?
I do. What was your criteria or your reasoning for denying a permit to remove the tree?
Trees are permitted for removal if they cause a danger to either vehicular or pedestrian traffic or property. I saw no evidence the tree was in good health and good vigor. I saw no evidence of damaged property at all or any possibility that it might in the future. So that was the basis for my denying the permit.
Okay, so it was a good, healthy tree, not obstructing the view or pedestrians or anything like that?
No, sir, it was in good
Okay.
shape.
Thank you.
I have a question, if I might. And were the present people that are involved in this case, were they the owners at that time?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, well,
We'll find that.
can we perhaps determine that? You're not aware one way or the other.
No,
but
sir.
I would ask the chairman that we make sure that we determine that before we go too far, and that would be the question I think that would be most important, at least for me, in making a decision. Thank you.
Any other questions of the city? Okay, so now is your opportunity to make your presentation.
Yeah, we apparently bought the house in May 14, 2014, and when we saw the house, apparently we saw that the tree was around like 4 or 5 foot close to the house, and apparently the door on the side where the tree is was the ground was elevated, so we couldn't close the door. So we called the company to see what we can do regarding the tree. And the company said the tree has to remove because the roots, apparently it's going and it's elevating the ground, which apparently in the garage area, the concrete will start cracking. So, and it's keeping also the area there very, very moist because they're apparently, I don't know, they said that it's getting very bad, and in the future the tree apparently is going to damage more the house. And also all the tree is getting on the top of the roof, which we had to cut, and even the other tree we have kind of to trim it because everything was going under the roof. So we called the company, and the company came, and they saw that we make the arrangement, and apparently the company went to get the permit. And like the gentleman say, apparently they refused the permit, and the person, the company, the first company that we hired, they said we have to go ahead and explain it to them what's going on with the house. It's going damage to the house, Yeah, but he said it's very busy season, so we have to call them later because we don't have no time that's set for all this explanation to go explain it to them. So in July, we live in New York, so we don't live here. We live in New York, so we come back and forth. We just bought the house here in Florida just to have it for the future. So in the July, we call another company to follow up with a tree, what is going to be, because we see that the tree, we put the cameras and everything, and the tree was going on top of the roof, and it looked very bad. So we called the company. The company said, yeah, we can remove it. And we signed a contract, which I have the contract that we signed with the company, if you want to see it.
They're supposed to get a permit.
Does anyone want to see that?
Hand it right to that man right there.
You aren't going to be able to get that back. Do you realize that?
We're not going to get it back?
If you're going to
now
submit that into evidence, you will not
evidence.
receive it back. We can provide you with a copy of it after the hearing.
I have a copy, so
Okay.
I can make a copy. So we signed the contract for the permit to get the permit to remove the tree. By the meantime, we were in New York, so we did the electronic contract. We signed it. The gentleman, the Thai tree company signed it. We paid the $1,500 and they removed the tree, but we never got any information that they never got the permit. So when I got the violation, the papers for violation, I asked the company, what happened, why you never got the permit? And they told me that, I have the message also, that they said it should be automatic permit because the tree was close to the house, it was damaging the house. So it has to be automatic permit, so it doesn't need any permit from the city. So this is what happened. So they're supposed to come today, but apparently they didn't show up. So.
In the contract, tell them we signed. Excuse me. We already signed in the contract, like tree removal plus the permit. We already paid separate. We have proof that we paid for.
And is that shown on that document?
Yes, it's shown the document.
You're supposed to get the permit. We pay for the permit and for the tree removal, which he called me a couple weeks after and said, George, hey, listen, we got a permit. We're going to come remove the tree. I said, that's fine. We're in New York, and we try to get in contact with them. I say, please, can you provide us with a copy of the permit? Stop calling us. Try to email them. And
Okay. I'm going to let the city see if the city has any. Do you have any questions of the violator?
No, it's very clear in their contract that a permit was to be provided by the contractor.
Thank you. Does any of the board members have any questions of our violators? I believe the one question was answered was that they were in fact in the home when the original request for permit was applied and denied.
I believe that the testimony was that they were in the house as of May of 2014, but is that prior to or after the 19th of May when the inspection was made?
Actually, I don't know when the inspection was made. I don't have any clue about
When
it.
did you take over the house, ma'am, if I might ask?
We took over the house in May 14. We signed the contract in May 14.
Okay.
So we don't know when.
So I have a question, just to be clear. The first company that you asked to remove the tree, or yourselves, applied for a permit from the city, and you were denied the permit at that time. Is that true?
Yes, it is. They got denied, and he says we have no time for them to go down in Tarpon Spring City and explain them and get all the situations. So he says, can you please just go do it yourself? And I say we don't live over there. We live in New York City. So afterwards, we hired another company. Somebody recommended us and says, yeah, we'll go get it for you, and we got all the proof right there.
The thing is, they never said that they shouldn't remove the tree. He said that he doesn't have a time to get the permit, to go there in person to explain it to them to the permit. And we don't know. Apparently, I apologize, but I don't know the laws here, so I'm new here. I don't know.
Does anyone have any more questions?
I have a question for the arborist, if I might. Can you tell me, you've heard the testimony that this tree had raised the concrete and was damaging the property. Did you make note of that on the inspection that you did in May of 2014?
I saw no evidence of property damage from the tree. I normally look for cracking.
Yeah, well, this lady, you heard her testimony.
Yes.
And she apparently looked at that at approximately the same time, and you say you saw nothing.
It may have been visible from inside the garage or inside the home. Nothing was visible on the outside of the home.
Okay, fair enough.
If there aren't any more questions, then we'll make final closing statements.
I have a question. Why wouldn't the tree company be responsible for this? Aren't they the ones who are supposed to get the permit?
Well,
Or is it ultimately the...
Yeah, that's a legal question. I'll be happy to answer for you, unless the city has a response to that.
No, I don't.
Okay. Once we close the public hearing portion of it, I'll be happy to answer that.
Okay.
Okay, closing statement by the city?
Well, it's unfortunate that the contractor didn't pull the permit, but this is the way the ordinance reads, and that's the way I have to interpret it.
And a closing statement by our violator?
Apparently,
I mean, we don't know. We got fooled. We apologize.
we apologize. for
Like
what happened. We
what
don't know.
happened, and but the tree was like almost like less than 5 foot close to the house, and we had material damage from the garage concrete.
The point is, we didn't know that all this was so serious in the first place. We thought that the tree we can remove since it's causing damage to our house, and we thought that because we hired a contractor, we hired the company, and we thought we did the right thing. We never wanted to, at least to break the law. So, I don't know.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to close the public hearing portion, and we will discuss it amongst ourselves. Mr. Trask, is now a good time to answer that question?
Thank you.
To answer your question, Mrs. Archer, the violator could be either the property owner or the tree company or both. In this case, the city decided to move forward against the property owner because they're ultimately responsible. If they're found to be in violation and they ultimately have to obtain this permit and pay these fees, their recourse would be to file a lawsuit against the tree company and collect their money from the tree company for their failure to do what they contractually were obligated to do. So that's their recourse, but it's not yours today.
Can I ask a follow-up, Tom? Could the city still go after the tree company?
At this point, the city has chose to do one thing, and that's to file the notice of the violation against the property owner. Normally, they wouldn't bring another case against the tree company.
Okay. I guess I have a problem with companies coming in and doing stuff like that. I would like to see the company get reamed for this.
So we've crossed this bridge before in previous cases where we've dealt with tree removals, and it has happened in this exact same way. Was ultimately the homeowner's responsible. They don't get a plead. I didn't know. They would have to deal with that in a different. So for today, we're going to just deal with just the facts as they're laid out for us today. This is the case that we're going to decide on.
And the ultimate decision here, it doesn't have anything to do with the money that's listed in the paperwork or what's been described to you today. Your sole determination is to determine whether or not that the property owner obtained a permit. If they did not obtain a permit, then you should find that there was a violation. Give them a period of time to come into compliance, and then if they don't bring it into compliance within that period of time, then be subject to a daily fine. So in a perfect world, they would go and pay for the permit tomorrow, whatever the cost is, if you had found a violation, and then there would be no further fines from the Code Enforcement Board. But your sole determination is to determine, is there a permit? And if there isn't one, is it a violation of the code?
I have a question then, sir. I remember reading that document, and they paid $1,500 for tree removal and the purchase of a permit.
Right, but they didn't get one.
But They per se didn't, but the tree service was supposed to, but they didn't, so it's not the tree service's fault.
It is the tree service's fault.
Okay.
Ultimately, they have a contractual obligation to do that. But that's not the issue before you
The issue
today.
here is yes.
Has there been a permit issued or not?
We have no choice.
No.
He wasn't going to be issued one either.
Right.
The city came, the city saw, the city decided, and said, don't remove the tree. Does anyone have a motion?
I'd
city
like to
not
ask
allowing
Mr. Trask a question based just on your experience with the law. If we were, for example, to determine that we wanted to give these people a certain amount of time to go after possibly to go after the tree company to obtain some type of a settlement from them, what would a reasonable amount of time be? What I'm trying to determine is if we were to find these people in violation and wanted to give them an opportunity to go after, to rectify it, possibly by going after the tree company, would you think that something like 3 months would be reasonable, or far less, or that perhaps that it's so undeterminable that it shouldn't be a factor, whatever?
The total amount of the fine is less than the jurisdictional amount for the circuit court. So this court case would be brought in county court. There's an administrative ruling that was issued a number of years ago where the administrative ruling says that these types of cases should be completed within a 1-year period of time. I would not think that this case could be over in 3 months. I would think that, if anything, you're talking in a 6 to 9 month range if lawsuit was filed fairly soon to get it completely through its process.
Thank you for that information.
I have another question then. If the respondents could show proof that that tree was damaging their yard, I mean their slabs, their concrete, then the city would have issued a permit if they could still provide that proof?
No, it's too late. It's too late for them to provide that proof. Now what they can do is they could go to the city's arborist and apply for a permit and pay these fees that are associated with it, but now is not the time. It's not do the work and ask for forgiveness, which you've seen so many times here. It's get the permit before you do the work. So my personal opinion is it won't matter.
I have a question, if it's allowed. No?
I'd like to see those photos again, if I may, just for a moment. And while I was looking at that, I would be happy if someone was able to put forth a motion. Yes, Ms. Dash?
Yeah, as you look at the photos, I don't know if you, but I didn't really see any visual evidence of the close proximity of the tree to the house and the condition of the sidewalk at the time. Are you able to?
I am. I have what appears to be one photo showing the tree proximity to the house. That's kind of the utility wall where such stuff comes in. And then I'll go ahead and hand it to you, and if you want to keep it.
Tree that close, the roots go out 20 feet. But that's not what we're here to determine. The city has made its case.
And once, Secretary, once I return these to you, would you receive all the documents into evidence, please?
Yes, sir. But the only thing we don't see
No, that's true. We can't turn a lot of trees overhang a house.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's not in our purview to do anything about this.
As I ask
That's based on this
for a
code.
motion, I guess I would just repeat what Attorney Trask said is that today is fairly straightforward. Is
Yes.
either a permit was issued for the removal of a tree or it wasn't. Yes, there are some other things that maybe are not very pleasant, but that is not what we're here to evaluate and decide on.
We can't do anything about it anyway.
We can't do anything about it. It's whether there was a permit issued or not.
Our purview. Yeah, I think they get found guilty, but make a $10 fine and give them 9 months. Then they can file a lawsuit against this guy and
Okay.
get their money.
I'm for that.
That's
Make
the
a motion.
recourse, is to sue this guy.
Right, make that motion.
The recourse is not here.
Right. Make that motion.
I'll make a motion if you want.
Please.
I move based on the testimony, evidence, facts, and presented in law that at the time of the alleged violation of section 133.04 and 133.09 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Tarpon Springs were in force. The respondent has May, June, July, until January 30th, 2016, to come into compliance with these code sections, or a fine of $10 a day shall be imposed for each day thereafter that the respondent remains in violation of said code section.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second.
Mrs. Archer has a question.
Yes, Ms.
Is this over and above what the permit fee and the mitigation fee?
Yes.
That exists. That's not in our purview to even address that.
Okay.
And that doesn't start until after January 31st.
No, it started. It's the clock's ticking now.
I mean, even for the $10 a day?
No.
Yeah, $10 doesn't start till next year.
Yes,
Yeah,
right, the
I want them-
$10 a
I want
day,
them to
right.
go sue this guy.
Right.
And get their money from this
Right.
guy and pay the city. And they can do that by next January. That was my intention.
Roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Dabbs?
No.
I'm sorry, your answer is what?
Said no.
No? Okay. Mr. DeMassis?
No.
Mrs. Archer?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Ms. Casey?
Yes.
Mr. Sableski?
Yes.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
5-2, your motion carries.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I suggest that you explain to them that our position here, that we can do nothing about this. That's why they came here, to have us mitigate this, and we can't,
Yes.
and the reasons why we can't.
And we've listened carefully. I think that that's apparent. But there's only certain things that is within our power here today. We cannot address those fees and penalties assessed by the city. That's not for our discussion. Mr. Kramer has given you a motion where our action doesn't even take place until January of next year, giving you a long opportunity to try and rectify the situation. It's very unfortunate, but those are the rules that are laid down. And good luck with your case against whoever cut that tree down.
Thank you.
Okay.
You gotta find that tree guy.
Hi.
Case number 15-800000119-319 West Martin. That's complied. Excellent.
Complied. What are you talking about?
I'm running on old papers.
Okay.
Can I just make an announcement on that? I'm here for city mortgage compliance.
Yes, you may. Please join us at the table. Name and address,
Yeah,
I
I'm
reckon.
Brian Silvasi. I'm an attorney for City Mortgage, 4752 Pine Ridge Drive, Riverview, Florida, 33578. I know they're in compliance. The thing I wanted to announce was that
Would you speak into the microphone for us,
sorry.
please?
I'm sorry. The one thing I wanted to announce was, obviously, City Mortgage takes things like this very seriously. They actually messed up the title paperwork 5 years ago.
They're not even the servicer anymore. I know as of record, they show as being servicer and owner. It's actually BSI Financial Services. So as soon as the code violation came down and was served on them, they've started remedial paperwork to basically get them off title, if you will. So if this ever comes up again, then it's obviously not them, or it'll be BSI Financial or whoever may be the future owner. But that was the main reason they wanted me to paid me to come down here, was to let you know that, in a sense, it really wasn't them that caused the issue, even though they understand that officially on record that that's who's going to get served with the notice.
They still fixed it, though.
Yeah, it's been
We
apparently.
appreciate that.
Yeah, as soon as they got the paperwork, they got a hold of BSI Financial, and everything they received, they let them know, and they were hoping they would take care of it, and apparently they have.
That's wonderful.
Other than yourself, sir, did City Mortgage Company inform the city of Tarpon Springs?
I believe they did. I'm not 100% sure about that. Did they tell you about BSI Financial? No, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm just suggesting that perhaps you might suggest to them that they take that step.
Okay, I'll let them know, and I certainly, as being an attorney, I understand that that's all you could do is whatever's title of record, that's who you're going to notify, and they admit that's their fault. When the closing was done and the transfer of the title, they didn't do what they needed to do, so they still show as of record being title owner.
Well, just so you can prove that you were here, you can tell them that somebody on the Code Enforcement Board suggested that they write a letter to the city and indicate in writing that what has occurred besides what you've told us. We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. You have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming.
Can I have a motion for the affidavits of compliance, please?
Are we there already?
Yeah.
I move we accept the affidavits of compliance in case 13-200000077, in case 13-200000046, in case 14-800000823.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Love that part. And
I move to approve the minutes of the,
No, we have another thing here.
Oh, there's another case.
We have another
Old business.
case.
old
Oh,
business,
I'm
request
sorry.
for reduction in fine, case number 13-200000046, 1540 Big Bass Drive. Even if there was anyone in the audience today, of course, our reduction in fines are based solely on the documents that are provided for us. Does everyone have a copy of the request for reduction in fines?
There you go.
You didn't get it in your packet? Here.
Unless I'm blind.
Reduction in fines on the last page.
Bobby, what's the total amount of the fine?
Okay, I remember.
$2,550.
Thank you.
Does everyone have a copy of the city's response to reduction of fine request?
I'm looking at it. I'll give it to them. Yeah.
And if you don't, I would just be happy to read that the recommendation from the city is the fine be reduced to allow the city to recover the administrative cost of $750. Would someone like to make a motion?
No.
I will. I was packed up and ready to leave. I forgot about this. Okay.
Okay, I see his reason, yeah.
Okay. I thought we had a sheet in here
Okay.
for that.
The second lecture.
Okay, here it is. I move that the fine of $2,550 in the case of citation number 13-200000046 of, be reduced to $750. The reduction will occur upon payment of the stated reduced amount if paid within 60 working days of the order. Failure to pay the reduced fine will result in the original amount of $2,550.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Dabbs? Yes. Mr. DeMossis?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Ms. Casey?
Yes.
Mr. Sebeski?
Yes.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. We'll now move to the approval of minutes for March 12th, 2015 and April 9th of 2015.
Move to approve the minutes of March 12th, 2015 and April 9th, 2015 meetings.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the ayes have it. Any public comments?
Yes. I'd like to wish all those that happy Father's Day come Sunday. It is this Sunday. Well, you don't have to worry. It's not like Mother's Day where you have to go buy something. They should be buying stuff for you. So I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Father's Day.
Thank you. I wanted to take a moment and pass along a discussion that someone had brought up to me. Today was a fairly light day and fairly easy. Some of our cases have been getting a little bit more complex, and that it would be important that if you received a package in the mail to take the time to read that and review that prior to the meeting, especially with these reduction in fines. These letters can be tough sometimes. So just if you get it, cut to the back and take the time to read those while you're laying down. It'll put you right to sleep, a nice little nap. Anyways. Okay, it is now... Oh, we have another public comment, please.
If you guys weren't already aware, I'm Officer Steve Gaston, and I've now kind of taken the position as a code enforcement officer for the city. I've been with Tarpon Springs for 18 years as a police officer, so it's kind of an interesting transition for me to move into this. The city decided not to have a civilian, but they decided to have a sworn police officer as the code enforcement person. So you guys will be seeing my pretty face.
Good.
Here, here. That is terrific news. I know I speak for the board that we were waiting patiently to have someone back at that table.
It's going to be a little bit of time because we're hiring people. So before I'm getting to where, a little more comfortable with clothing, it'll probably still be a couple of months. But I've been taking care of most of the cases, and thankfully she's an amazing person putting stuff together, and I just have to read. So, but I go out taking pictures and things like that. So if you have any questions about the photography,
I would say he
this is all done.
It gets things done.
Thank you very much.
Can I just say that as a board member, in the past when Cindy Sainer had the job, we always liked to get some type of input, a recommendation as to what she would suggest the fine might be. We didn't necessarily take it, okay, but at least it gives us some type of a guideline, okay, and perhaps you might bear that in mind.
I'll do whatever I can legally do.
Well, I think you can talk to Tom Trask, and he can give you some advice on that. But I think that's well within your prerogative as taking over her position. It'd be very helpful, at least to me, and I think it might be helpful to several of the other
I know my
members.
goal is to make contact with the majority of these people and not.
Absolutely.
Which was kind of enthusiasm. I have no problem banging on doors and talking to people and stuff, trying to get a lot of these cases taken care of before we ever have to adjourn a meeting to set fines and things like that. So.
And we'll appreciate those efforts, I guarantee you.
Thank you.
Okay, it is 2:40, and I adjourn today's meeting. Code Enforcement Board.
Get home to your phone.
Mr. Trask?
Well, now that my house is nice and finished, Kathleen does a terrific